Hello and welcome to the offices of the Manchester Evening News for this week's Talking City. I'm Keegan and I'm here with Stuart Brennan to look back on a creditable point at Stamford Bridge and a couple of North West clashes coming up with Wigan and Everton. Stuart, were Chelsea there for the taking yesterday?
Absolutely, I thought they were. I spoke to James Milner after the game. The interview's going to be in the Evening News tomorrow night, on Tuesday. And he said perhaps it shows, it's an indication of how far City have come, that they've gone to the home of the European champions and come away really disappointed that they only got a point. I spoke to Roberto Mancini after the game and he was extremely disappointed and quite annoyed at his strikers for not cashing in and not being tough enough in and around the box, because City were dominant, pushing Chelsea back, had the best of the game for long spells, but couldn't get the ball in the net. I mean, you can see negatives in that, I suppose, in that the strikers didn't play as well as you would hope they would for the quality that they've got. But I think more than that, you've got to look at the positive, which is that City are going to places like Chelsea these days with absolutely no fear, with total confidence that they can handle that kind of a team. Impose themselves on that kind of team, and that's what they did. It was just that minor detail of not being able to get the ball in the net, but that will come. Players like Aguero, Dzeko, Tevez, Balotelli don't stay bad for long. It's just a blip, I feel.
It seemed like a strange atmosphere, all this Benitez business.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much that affected Chelsea. I mean, they've been on a bad one anyway because they haven't won in 4 games in the league, but. And we were told that that some Chelsea fans weren't happy about Benitez getting the job, but it seemed to have snowballed because I couldn't quite believe the amount of hostility there was. Sitting in the stadium. Chelsea had a minute's silence plan for the late Dave Sexton, who passed away just before he was obviously the Chelsea manager, and for a while they had difficulty getting the minute's applause for Dave Sexton going because they couldn't silence the boos that were going around the ground. It was the Tanner guy was trying to get it through to the fans that they were going to have this minute's applause out of respect for Dave Sexton, and he was having trouble making himself heard. It just carried on through the game. I mean, I don't know if that affected Chelsea.
Yeah,
or if they just
it certainly looked like it, didn't it?
Yeah, you did get that feeling. And it's bad enough having the upheaval of switching a manager, in the middle of the week when you're preparing for a game as big as a City game. But then to have that on top of it, where your fans aren't behind you, they're more intent on expressing the displeasure of what's gone on behind the scenes. It can't help you mentally. So maybe that was a factor in the game. But the fact remains that City dominated the game and should have won it.
Then Mario gets a yellow card at the end after nearly having his head taken off.
Unbelievable.
That's a reputation yellow card, that, isn't it?
It is, but it's totally wrong. I mean, Mario it can be his own worst enemy because he does do silly things and he has got a reputation. Some of it undeserved, I might say, but some of it is deserved because we've seen him go down too easily. And Mancini's spoken to him about it, and told him to check it in. It doesn't happen in England. You don't get away with that kind of behaviour in England the ways you might in Italy. But that was ludicrous. He was going through, and Louise clearly stood up and gave him a hard shoulder, and he went down. There's not a person on the planet who wouldn't have gone down having had that done to them. And the referee gives him a yellow card. And the problem is, of course, you can't rescind the yellow card because I'm sure if the referee looked at that again, he would think,
hold his hands up.
What? That was stupid. It was clearly a foul. And possibly a yellow card the other way because the intent was there from Louise. But I mean, Mario just has to swallow it and take it as a lesson that personally he can do something to help himself. But also referees have got to understand that you shouldn't be judging players on reputation. You should be judging them on the situation.
And yet he did, didn't he? Because Torres spent, to me, it seems as though he spent half the second half on his backside.
yeah, it was.
And he soon gets up, doesn't he, when he realises he's not got the free kick?
Yeah, but Torres is that kind of player, isn't he? It does seem to be an element of that among certain players. Quite often foreign players, it's got to be said, because it's part of English football culture that you get up, you're a man about it, and you get on with the game. Whereas it's inculcated in certain foreign football cultures that cheeking is, you know, trying to win free kicks when there isn't one is
part of the game.
Is just part of the game, and you get applauded for it in some countries, whereas over here we tend to look down on it. But yeah, Torres did do a little bit of that. I thought there was one occasion where Torres might have gone down in the box and didn't.
True.
So to be fair to him, at least he stayed on his feet that time. So.
Looking ahead, big week now. Wigan, first of all, and then Everton. It's got to be 6 points from 6. It's the target, isn't it?
That's the target, but it's never that easy in the Premier League. I mean, you keep thinking back to the running towards in the last season when United went to Wigan, 8 points clear at the top, and everyone thought, you know, it's going to be 8 points again. City were at home to West Brom that night, and we thought City will beat West Brom, but they'll still be 8 points behind because United will go to Wigan and win. Sean Maloney scored a great goal. Wigan beat United and changed the course of the title race. So going to Wigan and thinking you're going to roll them over, it doesn't happen. You know, they're a good team. Another good win at the weekend. Jordi Gomez with a hat-trick. Looks a fair player. You wonder how long Wigan are going to be able to hold on to him. So City have to deal with that and go out with exactly the same attitude as they showed at Chelsea, that they're going to go out and impose themselves on the game. I suspect that Tevez and Balotelli might start this time, judging by Roberto's reaction to the way Aguero and Dzeko played. So it's up to them to go out and grab a goal or two and win the game.
Big week. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week when hopefully there's 6 more points in the bag for City.